Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we will focus on one verse in Surah Al-Hajj and its reflections, verse number 73.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس ضرب مثل فاستمعوا له إن الذين تدعون من دون الله لن يخلقوا ذبابا ولو اجتمعوا له وإن يسلبهم الذباب شيئا لا يستنقذوه منه ضعف الطالب والمطلوب.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The translation of the meaning. O humanity, a lesson is set forth, so listen to it carefully. Those idols you invoke besides Allah can never create so much as a fly, even if they were all to come together for that. And if a fly were to snatch anything away from them, they cannot even retrieve it from the fly. How powerless are those who invoke and those who are invoked. This verse is subhanAllah, very, very profound. First, it begins with a call to humanity, which is the way the surah begins as well. Ya ayyuhan nas. And it asks people to really contemplate on an example that is being struck, to listen to it carefully, give full attention. So people are being called out here, idols, gods, ideologies, and they're being called out in a way, challenged to create something even as small as a fly. Why a fly? Why not something more grander? It's interesting, the word for fly, zubaba. So zubab, the last two letters of the root are repetitive, the ba and the ba. So that excessiveness of the repetition, the baba, is kind of like the repetitive movement of a fly. This is maybe one of the ways in which the word has its origins or roots. And there are other things that are called zubab as well. Interestingly, if you go into the Arabic language, it's described as being something small like the single tooth of a camel or the edge of a sword or something essentially very small or negligible, something extra. And we see actually that the fly is one of the more insignificant of all creatures. The fly is something very common, something that's kind of ordinary among places all over the world. It's something that's, you could say, extra. So a challenge is being made to create, even if they all got together with everything they had, all the ideologies, the idols, the gods, the things that we worship as well, like technology, and put it together to try to create this fly. This is a reminder that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has and humbles us if we're arrogant into thinking that we can do this. It really points out our weakness and that we should never underestimate the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This challenge to make even one fly with everything that we have, we couldn't do it. And it's a challenge that exists until the end of time. And the other irony that's mentioned in this verse is that the idea of the fly coming and snatching away something, because the idol worshippers used to place food in front of the idols. And so the idols would have the food in front of them. And even though there were people that were poor and hungry, they weren't allowed to touch the food. But the fly would come and take the food, take it, and then go away. And no one could stop the fly from doing so. It was taking away from the idols, and the idols didn't have the power to even prevent that from happening. So this was a type of violation of what would be termed their sovereignty, which is kind of foolish. This example as well, you can think is a striking example of the parable of the idol and the idol worshiper. And they should really pay attention to this, because the amazing thing about this is forget the kind of gross example of a fly. Scientific studies have demonstrated that flies actually produce an enzyme that immediately breaks down whatever they consume. So that even if we were to catch the fly and try to take what the fly took away and take it back, we wouldn't be able to do so, because it had already been broken down, it had already been changed into its form. So this verse has even a more deeper and profound meaning, that not just taking the food, but actually not even being able to retrieve it, even if we could retrieve the fly, because of the biology of the fly. Subhanallah. How powerless are the ones who call on others besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the verses that say that they have not shown Allah, the verse 74 that follows, the reverence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves. Surely He is all powerful, almighty. And this is again a reference to how even the smallest example of a fly, we couldn't even compensate or compare the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter how much we go behind our technology or idols or military strength or intelligence or whatever example that we might use, it is weak in comparison to the power and might of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the lessons from this verse, or the reflections that I can take, is the call to humanity. When the verse is called to humanity, it is a call to the end of time, because humanity will exist in its different forms and they should be able to respond to this. So it's not only for the idol worshippers at the time of the Prophet. So even the example of that thing being taken is a powerful example if we understand the fly and its scientific understanding today. But how do we even begin to create a fly? And we have to really think about this, that the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so magnificent. And ultimate humility should be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so many things that are around us, even the smallest of creatures, we should take awe and be humble about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the majesty of the Creator, and submit to Him. Because He created this and of course created us. And this is the essence of the surah. And its ending is very powerful, and is that we should not ignore even the small things, for in them is an example. It's again for a chance for us to reflect and to be humble and glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's another fascinating hadith I'd like to share with you from Abu Hurairah, where the Prophet ﷺ said that if a housefly were to fall into a drink of anyone, then he should dip the fly completely into the drink and then take it out. For one of its wings has a disease and the other has a cure for the disease. And subhanAllah, there's been some recent experiments confirming that when they separate the left and the right wings of the different species of the fly, the left side contained microbacteria and fungus that grows, while the right side did not. Rather, it contained an antimicrobial substance on it. How glorious is the Creator of the heavens and the earth, and the Creator of the fly. Something so small, something made with such precision, explained in such a way that should make us all in awe of not only the fly, but of the many great things in the universe that we see. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to do so. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.